Wait.
I think our next guest is ready, and he said that he needs to get a beanie.
Hell yeah. Hell
One of
yeah. Okay,
Yeah, so
you want to introduce our next guest, guys?
you introduce. Go
Maricar
guys.
and Dre.
You introduce.
Maricar and Dre. Hold on. Hold on.
All right.
How about you do
Wait,
the introduction?
yeah, sure. Great. Just turn off the music lang for the background so that we can hear the convo. Okay. So yeah, our next guest kind of doesn't need any introduction. You know him as Riz. He's from Dagger, King Lychee, and more prominently, UniteAsia.org. Let's all welcome Riz. All
Woo!
right. All
What's
right.
up?
Hey,
Hey, bro.
Riz.
Hello.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud
Yeah.
and clear. Loud and clear,
Nice,
man.
nice. What's up? I got my beanie on. Look at this. I got a black one.
Yeah.
Yes,
Maricar.
Beanie crew, what's up?
yes, yes. Hell yeah! First of all, Riz, apologies that we were having dinner and then you're in the guest chat and we were like, oh no, Riz is here.
These are
Yeah, you tell me 7 o'clock. I'm showing up at 7 o'clock, but I forgot about Filipino time, my friends.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell the people what you said in the private chat. Riz is like, I'm sorry. I'm usually on time. I forgot to run on Filipino time. Then he said Then he said, I should have logged on 9 p.m. Like, oh,
Yep.
that hurts.
But
That
here I am,
hurts.
punctual as always.
I'm so embarrassed for us Filipinos right now.
Yeah. Oh man. Thank
right.
you,
Yeah.
Riz.
So, Briz, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We know that you're busy with
You're a busy
stuff
man.
there, life and everything. So how's it going with you, bro?
First of all, thank you so much for thinking of me, man. SRA is crazy because I remember we were part, like my old band King Lychee was part of SRA, one of the anniversaries. I think it was a 15-year anniversary, maybe.
Yeah.
So I can't believe that was 10 years ago, man. Holy crap! What that tells me is I'm old as hell.
I think everyone in this
Hurts Reese.
room.
I'm the only one who's like, I don't know, 27. I'm 27.
You're 27?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
You're
that's
like
crazy.
you guys are my elders, you know, like I represent the younger generation.
Wow. Yeah, but I mean,
Part
like
of
I
the
remember.
generation.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that show. I think it was Charles, right? Charles at Queen City Crew. He was the one that like hooked that up for us, and like he got us out. And I just remember like getting that email from Charles, or shit, was Facebook around then? I don't even know what he contacted me on.
I don't think
It was
Facebook
probably
is
ICQ. It was MSN maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
ICQ or MSN, one of those things. I have no idea. But I remember him hitting us up, and he was like, "Hey man, can you guys come out and do our 15-year anniversary?" I was like, "Hell yeah, dude! I love Cebu. Cebu would be a fucking great place to go hang out." So yeah, I mean, this goes way back. It's crazy that now you're hitting me up on the 25-year anniversary thing. That's crazy, man. Like in 10 more years, you can hit up my daughter.
Whoa. No, I'm so happy that like you mentioned your history with SRA, and then we have a comment. I highlighted it. Can you see it? It's from Gary. He says, "Riz, the hardest working man in the Asian hardcore punk scene." And where is the lie? Where is the lie? Where is the lie? And he also
that's
said this.
sweet. That's
Riz.
sweet.
He also said this. He also said this. So I don't know if he's sweet or being real right now.
All I can say, he is much older than me.
Oh snap! Okay. So, Riz,
But yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
it's a lot of respect I get from Cebu, man. Has always been like a home away from home, dude. I mean, we played there. I think when did we play? We played again in 2015, I think. I don't know when we played again.
Dio in the comments, he said you guessed it twice. King Lychee.
Yes, right. Gray. We played. Do you remember? I think it was the last time we played. Was at was at some venue that was like around the corner from a skate park. It was awesome. It was such a cool venue. It was like a grill, like a burger grill place or something like that.
Yo, that was in
Boss Grill.
Plaza.
Boss
No,
Grill.
MOBA. I thought it was in Plaza or something.
We're old. We cannot remember.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I hit up Holmes. I was like, yo, tell me where we played last time. He's like, dude, I can't remember the name of the place either. But I mean, every time we play in Cebu, like I remember the first time we played, and I just remember being completely blown away with the band. I mean, I've always heard the band, you know, like through MP3 or MySpace or whatever the fuck was everyone was listening to back then. But watching it live was completely different, man. It's like I remember Gardo, I remember Thought. I remember standing there like going, how the hell are we supposed to play after those bands? It was crazy, man. It was like Cebu's got such a good scene. And the other thing about Cebu scene is like, I mean, look at how many females are here right now. That's so killer, dude. It's so killer. It's like, you know, to me, like, yeah, I mean, like, to me, it's huge. It's huge. This is so important that the fact that there's only 2 guys here and there's 3, we are the minority in this, and that's what's so badass about the Cebu punk and hardcore scene, man. Like, it's such an equal playing field. Women run shit there, and that's why maybe Cebu's hardcore scene is better than the rest of the planet.
Awesome, man.
So
I think someone. Wait, I think someone answered your question. Sound Lounge.
Oh, yeah.
Sound Lounge.
Oh.
That was the venue where you guys
Sound
played.
Lounge. Yeah.
Is that Sound Lounge?
Is that was the second time? Great. Do you remember?
That was the first. That was the first, though. The first one.
Oh,
first
that
venue.
was the first.
Second, Nanay's Grill, I think, behind
Okay.
Cebu Dock.
The first one was sick because I remember it was like a 2-floor thing and people were like diving from the top or some shit like that, right? It was crazy.
Look at this comment from Wagner.
4 long hair, 1 no hair. Yo,
That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful, man.
have some respect for your elders.
Oh man, that's crazy.
I'm putting my hat back on. Fuck all of you.
Oh, that was Wagner from Thought, and Gardo.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love that guy.
Yeah. So
Okay,
Riz,
so about us, Riz. Now, back to you. Yes.
yeah,
Back
Riz,
to me about what?
I love
Yes.
how. So a while ago you mentioned like women in hardcore, and you also mentioned your daughter. And you know, I've been following you on social media. You and your daughter have like the sweetest relationship. Like, I don't have any kids, but like that's like goals right there.
Other goals.
Yeah, can you speak?
Thank you,
speak
thank
on
you.
that? Can you speak on that? You know,
Yeah.
like raising a kid and being in the scene.
Sure. I mean, as a dad, I mean, like I don't know if it changes things much having a kid, because I mean, the way I've always looked at music and hardcore and punk rock, I mean, like this is just it's just something that I love. It means a lot to me. I'm most definitely a guy that believes in the message before the music. I don't really care about the music as much as I care about the message. I mean, that's what got me into hardcore. It's like, oh shit, there's lyrics about racism. There's lyrics about, you know, feminine rights and women's rights and minorities, and like that's the beauty of hardcore. So whenever people are like, oh, I only care about the music in hardcore, I'm like, dude, I don't know. You and I don't connect. And so with my kid, it's the same thing. Like she does not like heavy music at all. She doesn't like screamy music. She doesn't like heavy music. And my whole deal with this, I'm happy that she doesn't like heavy music and screamy music. The reason why I say that, like, I'm sure people are like, what are you talking about? The reason why I say that is like, for me, I have a deep connection to heavy music because my life sucked. You know what I mean? Like I had a shitty upbringing. I had a horrible relationship with my dad. My dad used to beat me up all the time. Like music was my only escape. And so it was like when I put my earphones on and listened to Slayer or listen to Sick of It All, listen to Minor Threat or whatever, it was an escape, right? Like it was the only thing that brought me some comfort, gave me some solace from my regular shitty life. She doesn't have a shitty life. She has a very happy life. So
That's
the
great.
day that she starts listening to Sick of It All, I'll be like, oh my God, what happened? Where did we fuck up? We fucked up somewhere. What happened? So I mean, that's the way I raise my kid, is just like, dude, listen to whatever you want to listen to. You know, like as long as you really like it. You know, like with me, it's just like, as long as you believe what the person is singing about, you know what I mean? Go and listen to whatever you want to listen to. So she's turned me on to Taylor Swift and stuff
I
like
knew you were
that.
gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, it's all back here, right behind the Bard record, man. That's her collection over there.
Oh hell yeah! Awesome, man. No, I think talking about Taylor Swift, I think you relate to like songwriting. Her lyrics, she has great lyrics in my opinion. So I think your daughter also gravitates to lyrics and the message, much like her father. So hey, Riz, the heavy part is about to come. I just gotta say that it might come. Like you might start getting
Yeah.
into heavier stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look
teenagers
think
are
back to,
different.
I mean, but you guys know, I mean, like all of us, we weren't born listening to heavy stuff. You know what I mean? We
Yeah,
weren't
that's
Yeah.
true.
born listening to punk rock. We were born listening to, I mean, I'm older. So like when I first started listening to music, it was all like fucking, what was it? It was like
Beatles.
Tiffany, Debbie. Do you remember like what was that? Tiffany, like Bananarama, like what was
You guys are losing me. I
Debbie
swear.
Gibson. I listen to Debbie
yeah,
Gibson.
Debbie
I
Gibson.
remember.
Debbie Gibson.
I
Yeah,
listen
Debbie
to
Gibson was a
her
song.
music.
Don't start this.
Uh-huh.
Wigner, not the topic.
And
Wigner,
then
like,
also into Billie
guys,
Eilish
let me
now.
guys, let me put this into perspective real quick. I was born in 1993.
oh my god.
Jesus, 93,
I swear,
bro.
guys. I swear.
I was 16 in 93. Damn, dude.
Yeah, so just putting it into perspective for you guys. So yeah, so Riz,
Yeah.
the reason why I asked about your daughter and your family life is, it was a nice lighthearted topic to start the interview because these girls have some heavier topics. You know, you know the
That's
time.
what I
You know
like.
the time.
Bring
You
it
know the
on.
time.
Bring it on. I like
I gotta
heavy
throw the ball. I gotta throw the ball. I gotta throw the
Love
ball. Pass it on. Okay, go.
Okay, so since we're done with the lighter topics, as you know how Doms put it, so we're just gonna start with something like we know that a lot has been going on in Hong Kong, and we understand how things have been tough for you, your family, and your friends. And so, our question is, how are you coping? With everything. The things that are happening in Hong Kong, plus the pandemic. How are you coping?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. I really appreciate when people from outside of Hong Kong, keep track of what's going on here. It's not been good. It's not been good at all. It's now our third year into it, and there's still stuff going on every day. I mean, we are all, honestly, I'm not lying, we all just live day by day. You know what I mean? Like day to day. Let's just see. Did we make it through that day? All right, let's go to the next day. Let's see if we're going to make it through the next day. Because, I mean, just last week, was it last week? Yeah, just last week, 53 pro-democracy lawmakers and activists got arrested at like 5:30 in the morning. One of those guys is my really good friend. I mean, and he's not even like he's not an anti-China guy at all. I mean, he all he cares about is helping Hong Kong's ethnic minorities. So ethnic minorities means like Filipinos, Pakistanis, Indians, Nepalis, like us. Everyone that's here in this screen right now. If you all lived in Hong Kong, he's the kind of guy that takes care of all of us, right? So he makes sure that any government announcement comes out in all the different languages, in Tagalog, in Urdu, in Nepali. He's that guy. You know what I mean? And so for him to be arrested is just like, that was such a low blow. And it just shows you that we're currently in a situation where, I mean, the government's not sure. They don't know what they're doing. So, I mean, like I honestly, because I'm so vocal and so outspoken, like I'm always just waiting for the knock at the door as well. So we're just going day by day and hoping that we survive and see what happens. I mean, we don't know. We have no idea. I mean, 2019 was very rough because there's a lot of things going on. There are a lot of videos and like things going on there about, things we would see with our own eyes and things that we couldn't believe, like stuff that happened. And we're like, what is this happening in Hong Kong? How could this be happening in Hong Kong? And then 2020 July, they launched the new national security law. That completely has changed Hong Kong 100%. So it's like no longer the same city at all. So we're all just living day by day, trying to figure out what we can say, what we can't say. I mean, when my band Dagger, my newest band, was playing, we used to have this flag that we used to put behind us when we played. Now we can't put that flag up anymore. We have to take the flag off. Our backstage, we take it off, and now even in our practice room, we take it off because you never know when the police will show up, and if they have a certain flag or whatever, you have to take it down. Like just the other day, we had a guy an electrician that came to my own house and to fix the TV. And we have all these like posters and stuff like that, and we covered that poster up just in case an electrician would snitch on us and be like, "Oh, go to that house. That house has got stuff." So we covered that up. You know what I mean? Just in case. We don't know. We don't know what the electrician would have done, but we just don't know right now. I mean, it hurts to be able to say all this stuff, but that's currently the reality of Hong Kong.
Wow.
Well, thanks for sharing, man. We here have been kind of worried about what you guys are going through there. So we're all hoping that you guys are keeping safe, and we're glad to know that you're doing those preventive measures, to make sure that you guys are not getting tagged by anyone and get reported to the police. And we hope that things would get better for you and the people in Hong Kong in the future. And it's just sad that you guys are going through that, but it's great to know that despite the hard times, you guys are trying to keep positive.
It's like
And-
Yeah, that means
that
means a lot. Yeah, that means a lot because especially when we were going through this. I mean, like I think it was Wigner just said it's like our third year. It is our third year, and it just feels like when we're on our own. You know what I mean? Like you're just like this little tiny city on your own. And so when people are posting about us or Twittering or Instagram or Facebooking about us, whatever, it means a lot to a lot of people out here in Hong Kong. It let us know that we're not alone. I mean, and the cool thing about staying positive is that suddenly a lot of the people in Hong Kong are waking up to people around the world and other problems that are going on. I mean, like stuff going on in the Philippines as well. Like we know about things that are going on in the Philippines. And suddenly we're finding solidarity with people around the world, like people in Thailand, people in the Philippines, people in Indonesia. Like, I mean, a lot of us around the world seem to be going through rough times right now. And through all the struggle, we're seemingly to find some sort of solidarity. So more power to everybody. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
More power to everyone.
Yes.
So, in relation to the things that are happening in Hong Kong, and also you mentioned about racism earlier. So, Gray posted this question in our group chat, and we'd like to know what's your take on the U.S. Capitol insurrection.
Wow, you want to go there? Jeez.
That wasn't my question, man. It was great. I was just
Oh
trying to
my
ask.
God.
Yeah.
Riz,
We
I
wanted
told
to-
you, Riz, did I not tell you? Riz, did I not tell you?
Heavy stuff
You guys,
here.
you are awesome. This is already the best interview ever. We're getting political. Holy moly. Okay. All right. If that's where we want to go. I mean, I am a hardcore kid, a punk rock kid through and through. I am a part of the marginalized community of Hong Kong, being an ethnic minority in Hong Kong. So my heart will always be on the side of marginalized people. So I'm most certainly a supporter of LGBTQ rights. I'm most certainly a supporter of POC in the States, Black Lives Matter. I'm definitely a supporter of all of that. So I would say I'm definitely left-leaning kind of person, right? So in terms of what's going on in the insurrection and everything in the U.S., I mean, I've got a lot of comments about it, and I'm sure everyone here has a lot of comments. I mean, America in itself it's insane that in such a big country that like flaunts democracy and tries to spread democracy all over the world, for the fact that America has only 2 political parties is already insane to begin with. Do you know what I mean? That is already crazy that such a gigantic country that's so outspoken is divided into 2 camps. That's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. There's no way that 2 camps can represent such a gigantic country that is so about free speech and liberty and justice. So, I mean, right there, it's already wrong. It's already flawed, right? So in terms of the insurrection and stuff like that, I mean, come on, man. I mean, I don't believe conspiracy theories. I don't go down that rabbit hole. I don't believe that there was voter fraud. Like, I mean, if there was, I don't mean at the extent that Trump and all his idiots were espousing. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, oh, we won by a landslide. We're like, dude, can you do math? You clearly can't do math, right? I mean, like, it wasn't by millions and millions and millions. If there were fraud, I'm sure there was some mistakes or whatever. And like, your case went to the Supreme Court of your own government in your own country, and your Supreme Court judges are appointed by you, you big orange idiot. And so your own judges threw out your case because you don't have any evidence. At that point, you should have been like, all right, let's just peacefully pass the baton over to the next president, which is something that the world is watching. The whole world, authoritarian regimes all over the world watch this every 4 years, every 8 years to see how democracy works and how you can pass the baton from one presidential candidate peacefully to the next. And so authoritarian regimes are watching and are like, oh, how come it never falls apart? How come America never falls apart? How come they always pass it peacefully on? You know what I mean? And so for authoritarian regimes to see what happened last week with the insurrection, they're like, see, told you, democracy sucks. You know what I mean? So it was short-sighted. It didn't make sense in the grand scheme of things. If we're looking at global politics and how sensitive the whole world is right now, it was a stupid thing to happen. And the reason that it sucks is that it just emboldens authoritarian people all over the world, right? So authoritarian dictators are loving it. They love what happened last week. You know what I mean? So that's, I guess, my take on it. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to tell you.
Yeah, that's good insight.
Yeah, and we appreciate you for sharing that. We share the same insight. We just want to know how you think about it, seeing how you openly post about stuff like that on your social media profile, and it's as I've mentioned, that's really good insight. And Dom, do you have something to say?
I think like the summary for like what Riz said is like the too long version didn't read is like for everyone viewing right now is like the world's gone to shit.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
Right.
it's like COVID, and
Yeah.
then they're like taking advantage of COVID, and then they're like taking advantage of all this chaos and just like peddling their own agendas. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think
I mean, at the end of the making people confused. Absolutely. I think that's why I think governments all over the world are loving the situation right now because everyone's focus is on the pandemic,
Yep.
staying healthy, trying not to get sick. And so the government behind the scenes are like, oh, now's the perfect time to push this agenda and that agenda and further divide our country, our city, the world. I mean, but at the end of the day, all we can do, and I feel like this is what hardcore and punk rock has always taught me. At the end of the day, all we can do is take care of ourselves and take care of our community. You know what I mean? And for me, our community is the LGBTQ people. It is women. It is ethnic minorities. It is marginalized people. And as long as you're taking care of those people, ignore everything else, man. Just focus on compassion, being caring, being kind to each other. I mean, that's the most important thing. Even if you don't agree with people and their political stances, I don't agree with a lot of people. You know what I mean? I don't agree with a lot of stuff that's anyone that supports a more like a dictator style approach to government. I just cannot back that because I'm more about no, I need to hear different voices. I need to hear voices that are different from my own so you can educate me and let me know, dude, you're talking out of your ass. It's because you don't know about their plight. You don't know about the people of that community or that society. And so for me, it's just like, okay, I may not agree with you. Teach me about how we can support our community and make sure our community is strong. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, again, long story short, at the end of the day, as long as we think with compassion and use our heart to talk with people and build community, that's all we can do, I think.
That's a great message, Riz. That's a really great message.
Right on, man. That's good. Okay, so enough with the heavy stuff. That was what a question. I
Damn.
was out of breath because of that. So anyway, let's talk about you. So you play in a band, you manage Unite Asia, you teach at a school, you have a wonderful daughter. Like everyone who follows you knows how your relationship is with your daughter. So how in the world do you juggle with that? Can you walk us through what a typical day is for the Riz Farouk?
Yeah, I mean, my day starts early because I'm a teacher and I teach 6-year-olds. So I I'm usually up at about like 5:45 or 6 a.m. And then my daughter usually gets up around that time, and then we just hang out. We have breakfast and stuff, and then I get to work. I think I'm at work by like 7:15 or 7:20 a.m. and I teach. So I'm teaching all day, teach 6-year-olds, and like that's the best part of my day. Really is like hanging out with my kid and then teaching my kids at school. Because I mean, like when 6-year-olds walk through the door, you completely forget about yourself. You forget about the world. You forget how the world's going to shit. You forget all that stuff because 6-year-olds are so hopeful. You know what I mean? They walk in the door like, Mr. Faruqi, and I'm like, Theo, what's up? They come in so happy. They're like, I don't know what's going on beyond the world. I'm just happy to see you. And I'm like, yep, I'm happy to see you too. Let's get started. You know what I mean? And it's a cool thing to just always be in that energy and that aura, and that helps you stay positive. Because I mean, like a lot of people, man, like once you get into like a negative world, you just stay in there, dude. And you just stew in this negative, shitty attitude, and that impacts your own mental health. It impacts the relationship with your colleagues, and impact the relationship with your loved one, with my wife and my friends. And so it's like, you got to get out of it, man. You got to get out. And luckily, my job helps me do that. In terms of Unite Asia, though, like I am someone that just loves music and loves learning about my friends' bands and what's going on. And so like even during the day, I think a lot of people think I have like ADD maybe or ADHD. So there's people are like, you have this attention and then that and that. I'm like, maybe, man. My attention goes all over the place. So in the middle of teaching, I might pull out my phone and just kind of juggle through like IG or Twitter. And if someone will put up a post like, oh, I just released a song, I'm like, shit. And I have to like screen grab that post. And I'm like constantly screen grabbing stuff all day so that when I have time, I can go and then update the Unite Asia post. Like when Thought puts up stuff and like, she like, didn't you guys release something last year? It was like 3 new songs or something, Gray? What was it?
Yeah, just 3 songs. We're so lazy. But
yeah,
it's just
you guys.
another 3 songs that we can add for a full length release.
Yeah. So I remember like I was working or I was teaching, and then suddenly Gray had put up a post on her Facebook or whatever. I'm like, shit, she didn't send this to me. So I have to like screen grab that and then save it on my phone so that when I have time off, and I usually have time off like maybe around lunchtime or like when school's done around 3 o'clock, then I take a break. And a mental break to me is like when I go and update stuff on Unite Asia, so I'll put Thought up or whatever. Then I go home. And luckily, my daughter goes to bed around 7. And then after 7, because I'm old, I stay home, dude. I don't do anything. So after 7 is when I update the website. I can update, like, seriously, I can spend like 3 or 4 hours updating site, like looking up posts and like receiving people's submissions. And when people send me stuff, I have to read through it because I have to vet all the submissions. Yeah. So I read through it. Often bands will just be like, release new song, enjoy. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God. You
ranted about this. I remember you ranting about this. Like the band just gives you the link and there's like new music from us. And then you're like, what? Now I gotta do the whole research and everything.
Or dude, they don't even include the link. They're like, new song. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go find the link. So I gotta go find their Facebook page, and then depends where the band is from. If the band is from the Philippines, I can go to their Facebook page. Yeah. If the band is from Indonesia, I got to go to their Instagram because they hate Facebook. So like, it's just all this constant research. Then you have to write a paragraph about what the band is about. Then you put the post up, and then the band gets all mad. They're like, we are not straight edge hardcore. We are crust punk, neoclassical, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, dude, if you had just included that in the beginning, I wouldn't have to do this. So there's a new submission page now. Okay. And the new submission page has like a breakdown.
Wait, this is cool. This is cool.
Put it all up.
This is cool. We can actually go to the site and then look. We can talk about it. We can talk about it. Wait, we can talk about it. So where is it? Submit news, right? Submit news, right? Submit news.
Okay, Dom. How hard was that for you to find? It took you 1 second, right?
Yeah, but I'm like an IT dude. Like I kind of know my way around computers.
Dude, you found submit news in 1 second. People will email me like, can't find it. I can't find it. I can't find it. All right, click news right now, Dom.
Okay. Got it. And yeah, welcome to the Philippine internet, by the way. So if it's slow, it's not our
Look
fault.
at that. Look at a
Okay.
beautiful. Oh, beautiful. Oh my gosh. What
Wow,
a
that's
work of
great.
art.
Hey, I didn't know about this.
Very detailed.
Post
What a
content.
work of art. Look at this. It is like a, oh my gosh, like a Picasso. We're watching a Picasso right now. Look at this. Oh my God.
Okay, let's see.
Brilliant.
Let's see. Netflix payment. Here. Let's see that. If it uploads, okay, cool. Hell yeah.
See, look at that. And then when you're done with
link.
everything, it even gives you a preview to see if you like what you see.
Okay, that's cool. Oh yeah, so you
It
have
is.
to you have to do this because it says
Right.
name of the
Yeah.
band. Genre,
Yes.
contact.
Genre is very important. I will not allow you to submit this unless you write down your own genre.
Yeah, you can.
Really?
So okay, cool. We got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really awesome, man. Like
Okay.
everything that you need is there, so the band has no excuse to not give you the information that you need for whatever it is that you'd be posting about them in their new releases. So good job on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to explain that. Of course, we understand that people's English level is different, right? All over Asia, we know that. We understand that, and so I don't get mad when bands send in stuff and they don't write much about it. But like, I would definitely prefer that they write as much as broken English stuff, and then I can fix it for them. But if they don't write anything, then it's hard because then you got to go to their Facebook page. And after running Unite Asia, I understand why some bands have managers. You know what I mean? Because some bands really just need a manager. They need someone to hold their hand. They need someone to be like, I will help you do this. This is how we do this in the real world. You know what I mean? But like, and so I just appreciate that anyone uses the site because the more information is on the site, the more resourceful it is, right?
Hey Riz, I just looking at the site right now, and like I have like a little background on design and like UX. Maybe submit news should be the first one here. Maybe it should be here.
I agree.
Like I don't know, but
I agree.
but it's not like hard to find though. Like the logo is here and submit news is right here, but I don't know. It could be submit news over here. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. Or it should be submit news should be like the main header.
Yeah, it should be like right here or something. Submit news.
Oh, you know what I would love? I would love for submit news to actually be a hand that comes out of someone's computer and slaps them on the head.
Oh man, that's crazy, man.
Who made the website?
Yeah, who made the website?
A guy in Hong Kong made it. He's a really good dude, and so he like sat down with me and for hours. We tried to explain like what I want. It's not cheap, man. That's why I do kind of always encourage people to go use the website because I don't get paid for this. You know what I mean? Like there's no advertisements on it, like stuff like that. So it's just all a labor of love, and so people just use the website. And yeah, I mean the guy is really good, and if something breaks down or whatever, he's pretty quick at fixing it.
Cool, man. That's great.
So, relating to what you said a while ago regarding your typical life, I'm a mental health advocate, so I'm very happy that you mentioned about mental health when it comes to your daily life, because I think right now during the pandemic, it's really important to take care of our mental health. So, how about you? How do you usually take care of your mental health, especially that you have like a lot of things going on with your life right now?
That's a great question. Thank you. And that's great that you are an advocate for mental health. I mean, I don't know if you've seen on the Facebook Unite Asia's Facebook page, there's like posts about, like I have random like conversations and stuff like that. Someone made a post about, how they don't like the Metallica documentary, Some Kind of Monster, because, they're like, oh, what a bunch of pussies. They need to go see therapy. I'm like, yo, are you crazy? I'm like, I think it's so brave of a band like Metallica letting their fans know, millions and billions of fans know that even us, we need mental health help. You know what I mean? Like, and like you're saying, you're right. Pandemic, especially during this coronavirus stuff, we are all locked in our homes. You know what I mean? And like people have said, like divorce rates have gone up, and physical abuse and sexual abuse numbers have gone up because people are home all the time. It's not a healthy situation, man. Like we should need to take the stigma off of seeking mental health, especially for males. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why males are like, oh, getting therapy means you're a wuss. I'm like, if you don't get therapy, you're a wuss. You know what I mean? If you don't know that your brain is not working right, that you're too angry, you're exploding on your loved one. If you're not realizing that, it shows a lack of understanding on your part, right? On how much your own mental health is impacting everybody else. And there's like a mental abuse a part about that. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. I think it's really important if people are checking in with themselves, checking in with their loved ones, checking in with their friends. And that's why sometimes when people are like complaining about lockdown, you know, some people are like, oh, the lockdown's been 2 months. Can you believe all these people are going to the beach now? Why aren't they worried about other people? I'm like, yo, 2 months of being locked in at your home, in a small home, like Hong Kong people live in tiny little shoeboxes. 2 months of home, like, that's not healthy, man. Go to the beach once or 2 times a month is actually good for them. Like, they're getting out, they're getting some sun, they're playing, they're like, you know, enjoying life and getting a little bit of that serotonin, that dopamine back in their brain, so that when they go back to that lockdown situation, they're a little bit more in a positive frame of mind. So I agree with you, man. I think mental health is such an important part of, you know, what's going on in the world right now. We have to check in with each other.
Yeah, because we have different ways of coping up, especially for people who are diagnosed with mental health condition.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, and some people who aren't diagnosed with it, and they have no idea that they're complete, like, their life is falling apart, and they're just not aware because they don't know how to look for signals, right? They don't know how to look for what's going on around them mentally, in their heart, their emotions. They don't know that they're like, oh shit, I have to go get help now. They don't know about that stuff.
And suicide rates are actually rising right now.
Yeah, you're right. Suicide rates are high right now. You're right. All over the world, right? All over the world, because people can't cope. I mean, they can't cope, like you're saying about, you know, not just illness, right? Not just being sick, but a lot of people have lost their jobs, right? They've lost their jobs. You know, they've got payments to make, they've got rent to take care of, they've got bills to pay, and they're like, how can I get through this? And that's why we have to reach out for people and make sure that at least people in our community, our friends or family, that they're coping and they're surviving, right?
Yeah. So I'm happy that you mentioned that during your typical day, because really it's very important for people. Like more than what we do every day, like music or work. It should be that our mental health is also our priority.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your thoughts about that. And so we've asked this question to the previous guest, and we've asked Jai about this, and I'm not sure if we've asked Jude about this, but would like to know if you're still punked up with the punk at your age, or has burnout caught up with you?
At my age, how old do you think I am? Guys, let's
Hey,
set
I'm
the
washing
record
my hands.
straight.
I'm washing my hands here. I have no
Let's
part of
set
this.
the record
I,
straight. I'm only 44. I'm still alive. I'm still breathing.
Yeah, actually, you're just like six years older than me.
yeah, we're like we're
38.
reaching 40. We're reaching 40.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're
almost
there.
40.
Guys, let me just say right now, for the younger generation, you guys look young. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but keep doing it. You don't look old, guys. You're wearing beanies, and I look older than you guys.
That's right. That's right.
Like,
That's
come
a good
on,
reason to get this. I see why you brought this guy along. Thank you. Very good job.
See?
Good job.
See?
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Come on. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, it's like you don't look old, and you don't feel old, so you're not old. You know what I mean?
We love the flattery, Doms. Thank you.
So, yeah. So
I think honestly, in
It's
terms of
because of the
age,
music,
honestly,
man.
yeah, it is. Honestly, you're right, Gray. I really honestly think it's the music. I mean, like
Yeah.
I was saying earlier, because I keep myself busy, it just keeps me moving. I don't really notice my age. You know what I mean? Because no matter how shit it might be in Hong Kong or whatever's going on in the world, I still wake up the next morning and 10 bands have sent me their posts about their new music. I'm like, oh, and like kind of shake my head. I'm like, oh yeah, right. Life will keep going, right? Life keeps going no matter what. So if you're old and gray and jaded and like you hate this, you hate that, dude, step off, man. Get the fuck out of the way. I mean, the kids are going to continue to live. The world is going to keep going. Hardcore will always be alive. Like, I don't know about any of these people who are like, oh, hardcore died in the 80s. I'm like, what, dude? What are you talking about? I heard 20 bands yesterday that like left me in shame. You know what I mean? Like, hardcore will continue, punk will continue, metal will continue, and like that's what keeps me young. You know what I mean? Like what Gray is saying. Like you wake up every day, and there's a new band in Jakarta, a new band in Cebu, a new band in Bohol. I didn't even know there was a hardcore band in Bohol, yo. I got a message yesterday. There's a band.
Oh,
band.
Wow.
I was like, I've been to Bohol, and I was like, I didn't know there's fucking bands on Bohol, that little tiny island. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's cool. You know what I mean? That's what keeps me alive. So like, I really feel like punk rock and hardcore will always keep us young. You know what I mean? Like, and there's posts from like bands that are really much older. Like, I don't want to make anyone feel bad, but like, you know, Think of It All guys aren't 27 like Dom here. You know, they're older and they're still doing it. You know what I mean? If they're still doing it, what's my excuse? You know what I mean? I'm not even in a full-time band. You know what I mean? They're in a full-time band. They tour 9-10 months out of the year. And if they can still do it at 51, 52, like shit, dude, I got plenty of time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Crazy.
So,
I mean-
since we're talking about music right now, what's new with your band? Any new shit?
Oh, hell
Coming
yeah. Here we
Have you got
go.
releases?
Give us a scoop. Give us a scoop.
Doing this time, pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, we work like my newest band is band Dagger, and we started that band in I think it was 2017. We started that band after King Lai Chee finished touring with Thick of It All in the States, and then we came back to Hong Kong, and it was just such a highlight. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm sure you guys understand, but like Thick of It All was the band that got me into hardcore, like in '93, '94, or whatever. And like, I actually heard them before that. But they were the reason why I got into hardcore. And so like that band, you know, brought us to the States and helped us tour Boston, DC, New York City. Like, I mean, it's like such a, like, you understand, like I can't even express myself. I'm like, it was such a mind fuck to be in New York City at Thick of It All's 30th anniversary on stage in New York City and be like, holy shit, we're King Lai Chee from Hong Kong. Like it was so crazy, dude. And like I didn't feel like I was on stage representing Hong Kong. It felt like I was on stage representing Asia. You know what I mean? Because Thick of It All had personally selected us to come out. So when we came back from that tour, it was just like, now what? You know what I mean? Like people were like, I don't know what to do next. Like, do we release an album? Like, how do we follow up something like that? We already did something that we never envisioned or dreamed that we could do. I'm literally the highlight of my life was that. You know what I mean? So we kind of took a break. We agreed to kind of take a break. And like, I don't know if Gray, you probably remember this. Like, I mean, like when King Lai Chee first started, I played guitar and sang. And then later I put the guitar down and I was the main singer. So like around November of 2016, I just wanted to start playing guitar again. And I wanted to play a little bit more metallic stuff. You know, bands like Incendiary, Foundation.
Hell yeah.
Stuff that I really appreciated about the 90s was more of the metallic stuff. You know what I mean? Like Turmoil, Snapcase, Strife, you know, like those kinds of bands, Botch, you know, like those kind of bands were like the bands that I really gravitated towards because I grew up on metal. I mean, like a lot of people listening, probably, I grew up on metal, on like Slayer, Pantera, Anthrax, all that type of stuff. But I love the attitude of hardcore. And I was living in the States during 94 to 98, so I got to see a lot of this stuff. And I was like, oh, what a brilliant idea, combining metallic music in hardcore, but singing about straight edge, singing about veganism, singing about racism. And so, you know what I mean? It was so cool to see all that stuff. So around 2016, like I was like, oh, I want to play guitar again. Fuck singing for a while. You know what I mean? So like I started writing riffs and stuff like that. And so I was like, how about I just start like a little side project with my drummer at the time, Ivan, who's such a killer drummer. And so that was like a catalyst of like doing something a little bit more like you know, Botch or Turmoil or early Converge, you know, early Cave In, like that type of stuff. Very metallic, but still very socio-political. You know what I mean? And so I started the band in January of 2017. And I didn't realize that band was going to take off, dude. That band took off. I was like, oh, shit. It took off. And 5 months after that, it was when King Lychee, we just kind of like, that's it, we're done. I mean, like, we ended on a good note. And so Dagger's been my main band. And almost every year of that band, we've released something, like either an EP or a split, and we've done a bunch of tours. Last year, we did a split song with Greg of Trial. You guys know Trial, right? That 90s hardcore band? Yeah. I mean, Trial is like, whew, oh my God, that band is unbelievable. Like, that band, not just musically is unbelievable, but lyrically, that band is unbelievable. And because he started a new band, he's like, hey, dude, you know, America's going through a bunch of shit. Hong Kong's going through a bunch of shit. Why don't we just do a split with my new band called Bystander? And I was like, hell yeah, that's sick, dude. That'd be great. And so within a month, we both had written a song and released a song, recorded a song. So guys, everyone can check that out. That was last year. But unfortunately, because of COVID and the Corona stuff, our drummer actually lives in Macau. He doesn't live in Hong Kong. He lives in Macau, which is another island away from Hong Kong. So our ferries were closed. They've been blocked. So he hasn't been able to come here. I haven't seen him in a year. I haven't seen him in 11 months. Like, last time I saw him was in February last year. So that kind of put like Dagger on hold, because we're not a band that just kind of like sends MP3s back and forth. We're just not that type of band. Like, we got to actually be like, send MP3s back and forth and get into the studio or in our jam space and like play the stuff live, because we're such like feel and emotional kind of band. And so that kind of like, until he can come back here, we kind of just are sitting around not doing anything. However, because I've got ADD and because I love singing, I was just like, oh shit, I want to start singing again. So I started a new band. So there's a brand new band that's got 7 songs already done. I'm recording the rest of the vocals tomorrow. And that band will be out hopefully either end of January or early February. We'll have it out, and it's very like D-beat hardcore punk. It's just like straight ahead, like just, you know what I mean? Like, not metallic at all. It's just straight up. You know what I mean? And so
can you drop the name? Can you drop the name? Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable dropping the name?
Well, here's the problem with dropping the name. Here's the problem, dude. Every good band name is taken. You know what I mean? So just like, I see. Band name, it's a one-word name, and then when I saw it, I looked it up. I'm like, what the hell? No band is named this? I'm pretty psyched that no band is named this. However, I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure some guy in freaking Santa Rosa City in Laguna or somewhere in the world is gonna be like, yo, that was my band when I was 14. I'm like, oh, I don't know anything about your band when you were 14, man.
That's crazy, man. So yeah, that's cool. You're doing like you're pursuing music still. Dagger right now is taking a little break, so now you're pursuing this new band. You can't speak of yet the name, because the name might be taken by someone else or something.
Yeah. I mean, but all of you guys are all connected to me, and you're connected to United Asia. You'll see, like, when it gets launched, you'll see the name and stuff like that.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we have questions, Pak. We have questions.
I'm just checking the comments, and like, my friend Sean Villarreal is saying King Lychee for the win.
No.
So like, like King Lychee will always be a part of you, and like you'll always have that. Oh shit, King Lychee, like, you know.
I appreciate that. I mean, King Lychee has a long history in the Philippines. I mean, I personally have a long history in the Philippines, but the band has a long history too. Because I mean, our first show in the Philippines was opening for NoFX in like 06 or 07, and we came out, and like, I'm not shitting you. I'm not shitting you, but at the end of that Manila show, because the Manila hardcore kids and the Philippines hardcore kids came out and represented, El Jefe and Fat Mike at the end of that show came up to me and were like, yo, that show was like split in half. They're like, man, people really love King Lychee. I'm like, what can I say, man? I mean, Philippines likes their hardcore, man. They've been doing hardcore things in the 80s for sure. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, man.
Shout out to like Joey and Marvin, like all my dudes that showed up, friends that like, I think Joey and Marvin, that might have been the first time we actually met face to face. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? Joey Intolerant and Marvin from Bad Burn. And
hell yeah. Manila scene.
Years. And that was like the first time we actually met. and like they went off freaking like Chee. And I remember like I was playing guitar, and I think I must have stage dive off the stage. I don't know what I did, something stupid. And some guy like took my hat. And at the end of the show, I was so bummed. I was like, oh, that was my favorite hat, man. And then Marvin showed up. He's like, yo, here's your hat back. I'm like, you took my hat? And he's like, no, dude, I didn't take your hat. Some other dude took your hat, and I took it back from him. I was like, if you ever take it from my friend again, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Marvin, man. Marvin's the man.
Awesome, man. So I'm just going to read out the rest of the comments, man. You got Sean Tagalog. He's like, yo, what up, Riz?
Hell yeah, what up?
And then I think Dio said like he saw during MTV days with no effects in Manila. You were playing guitar.
Yes, that's right. Like that's the story I was just sharing.
Yeah, the story.
I remember. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Dio remembers this. I mean, that was the first time. So we arrived in Manila. It was the first time I'd been in the Philippines. I remember going to our hotel room or whatever room we had. I remember turning the TV on, and like I'd already been friends. Like I said, I've got such a long history with the Philippines, man. The Philippines, I love the Philippines, and so like I remember I had friends with I was friends with like so many bands, and I was friends with the guys in Typecast, and that was the first time I turned the TV on, and Typecast was on freaking MTV, like their music video. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, they're on they're on MTV. I could not believe it, right? So at the show, all the Typecast guys, they came to the show. They're like, they came, like I was at the merch table, and they came and introduced themselves. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, dude, Filipino humility is second to none. Filipino humility. I'm like, you guys are just on MTV, and you're introducing yourselves to me. You know what I mean? I'm just like this fucking little Pakistani guy in a band from Hong Kong. It was just so rad. It was so cool. I mean, like, it was just, and I think that was the days when they, like they had the emo hair.
Yes.
Right? They had
believe me, I know, Riz. Like, I worship Typecast. I worship Typecast.
They had the emo hair, the hair like this. Right? That one. I don't know how to make it. I need something black. They had that hair. The badass hair, man. It was awesome, dude. It was such a great experience, dude. It was, and then I think every year after that, we came back, man. I think we came back and played SummerSlam twice. Yeah. I mean, I think someone
said SummerSlam 2008 or something.
Yeah, something crazy like that. And it was Joey. It was Joey that hooked us up, man. Joey hooked us up with SummerSlam, that first one too.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah,
here it is.
2008. There's Gary. He knows what's up. Yeah, he knows what's up. That was crazy, dude. SummerSlam, and like we played. Who was on it? It was like Darkest Hour was on it, and somebody. Oh, Shadows Fall. And so when we were playing on stage, and we just fucking tore it up, man. I didn't give a shit if anyone liked us. And I remember people were telling us that SummerSlam has the net, right? The net in front of the band. Because if the audience doesn't like you, they start throwing bottles and rocks and shit. And right? Yeah. They had a net in front, and so no one threw anything at on stage. I'm like, oh shit, people like us. And I remember looking to the left and stage left, and I remember Brian from Shadows Falls was watching us, and he was just like, hell yeah, like going off like this, because he's a hardcore kid. It was cool, and I remember then because I got you know what I mean? Like I got affirmation from freaking Shadows Fall guy. I was like, fuck the net, man. So I opened the net and I went out, or I don't know what I did. Something crazy, man. I remember that it was dope. And then the following year was sick too. And we made CDs, like we burned CDs in the hotel room in Manila or whatever it was. Yeah. And we went out and threw CDs out into the crowd, dude. It was sick, man. SummerSlam was sick.
Awesome, man. Wow. Holy shit. Man. So yeah, just basically no more questions from us, man. Like they're just people shouting out, like shout out for LA Gun, mga amigo. You're just like people showing love all over the Philippines. Awesome.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, I've got stories for days in the Philippines, man. It's awesome, just there's so many good things that happen in the Philippines. I remember one time, you guys, great. Have you toured up in Laguna? Did you play with Pile Driver and their scene?
Yes.
In Santa Rosa City? Yeah, I mean, like, that's great. That's another sick scene, right? I mean, I remember when the Pile Driver guys brought us out. I don't know if it was an anniversary or whatever it was, but I remember, oh, God, who was the guitar player at the time? I can't remember who the guitar player was at the time, but we stayed at his house. You know what I mean? It was so sick because we arrived after we got from the airport. They took us to, like, his house or whoever's house, and they had food prepared for us, like, at someone's house. And, like, awesome. Of course, there was a karaoke machine ready to go. You know what I mean? Philippine style.
Yeah.
And so, It was sick. It was so rad. It was such a family experience. There's food and there's all this cool stuff. And I remember after that show, they took us back to his house, and we all stayed at his house. Like, we slept on the floor or whatever, whoever's room or whatever it was. And I remember waking up to his kid playing Spider-Man on my head.
That's wild, dude.
Spider-Man, like he had his Spider-Man toys. He was like boing, boing, like on my head.
Whoa.
It was so rad, dude. I mean, I love the Philippines. I love the Philippines because it's just always like one big happy family, man. No matter what, no matter if the equipment is not great, if the Wi-Fi sucks or whatever, people are always apologizing. They're like, we're so sorry. I'm like, I don't give a shit, man. Like the audience goes crazy no matter what. You know what I mean? The audience goes crazy. The promoter goes crazy. It's just such a dope scene. Like people all over the world need to go to the Philippines. Even to the point where the Sick of It All second tour that I organized, they were like, where else should we go? I'm like, go back to Manila. They're like, are you sure we should go back? I'm like, yes, you should go back. And they probably hate me because the only route I could give them to play in Manila, because the flights are all crazy in Asia, they're so messed up, was after their Jakarta show, they had to get on a plane to fly to Manila. That same night they had to get, and I'm sure they were so mad. But when they arrived in Manila, dude, of course, like you guys go crazy. They're like all the photos of them smiling, and that's just how great the Philippine scene is, man.
Cool, man. So yeah, I think like I'm sure you can tell us all the stories, and like we don't really want to take much of your time. You haven't had dinner yet.
Oh, question.
Yeah. Oh wait. Okay, Gray has a question.
Yeah, so this is last. So we've talked about pandemic. We talked about your bands and your personal life. What can you share about our scene here? Because you've seen how small the scene here and how
in Cebu.
it is. So my question is, what can you impart or advice coming from a very big scene and very successful scene there? What can you advise from like us, the organizers and the future organizers here, on how we can step up and do better, like all we, because it's all about money, right? But then I know money, there's a way. So
yeah,
so that's what I've been doing for the past year, but I don't think that's very effective. So maybe there's we can get something from you. You've organized really big shows, and the kids love that, and of course I think the kids deserve that here too. So
yeah, I mean, I think my experience with Cebu is, because we've been going back and forth a bunch of times, and I've got a lot of friends there and stuff like that. I mean, I think you guys have the right attitude. I mean, like I said earlier, the fact that there's 3 women here, part of this Cebu, this whole conversation right now, it speaks volumes, man. I mean, like just in terms of representation, you're already doing the right thing. So I mean, I don't know if I can give you more advice than what you're doing. I should be getting advice from you. I'm like, how in the world did you guys get so many women involved in the hardcore scene in your community? I mean, like that's the beauty of what you're doing, and just keep doing that. I mean, in terms of organizing and promoting, I mean, I think one of the best things that anyone can do is just to be a little bit more professional about things, right? I mean, luckily, I've been touring Asia for like almost 20 years now, and things just keep getting better and better and better. And people just know, they're like, yeah, if I invite an overseas band or whatever, I need to get my shit together. You know what I mean? I need to know what time I'm picking people up. Where are they staying? Or, do they have food prepared for that band? Because they're going to be tired. Flying is not easy. Checking in at hotels is not easy. You know what I mean? And so, a lot of bands, when they travel Asia, they have to get up at 4 or 5 a.m. to go to the airport. Like, I mean, people need to understand that they might play the show and get back to the hotel room at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., go to sleep. They have to get up at 4 or 5 a.m. because the travel from the hotel to the airport can be 2 hours. Then you need to check in to the airport 2 hours before. So that's 4 hours before you get on the flight. Then you get on the flight and you arrive. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you arrive in the hotel, in the airport, you're going through customs, and a lot of bands are scared because they didn't get work visas. They're coming in as tourists, and they're like, oh shit, don't check that bag. Don't check that bag. You check that bag, all they're going to see is merch. All they're going to see is t-shirts and t-shirts and t-shirts. So there's all this like emotional duress almost emotional stuff, and it finally goes through immigration. You're like, oh, done. Then you get picked up, and when you get picked up, and the guy's just kind of sitting there on his phone, and you're like, dude, where's the van? They're like, oh, I forgot to call. The van's coming, and you're like, what?
Oh.
Oh, we've been up since 4 a.m. We just need to get to the hotel or wherever it is and just get some sleep just for an hour or two. And the guy's like, yeah, don't worry. Don't be such a rock star. And you're like, I'm not being a rock star, bro. I'm really not being a rock star. And I'm not saying, like, please, anyone listening, I'm not talking about Philippines. This has never happened in the Philippines, ever. It's never happened in the Philippines. But I'm just saying that it does sometimes happen, and like bands feel bad because they're like, oh, we don't want to look like rock stars, but we haven't had any sleep. And sometimes if they're touring Asia and if they're on the end of the tour, like they've done like 8 days, 9 days, imagine that, man, they're done. They've aged 100 years by the time they get to your city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's just sometimes we just got to think about that. Just like we got to always think about the compassion piece. And I know, like Gray, you're saying money is a very important part. We can't put bands up in really nice hotels. We can't give them like beautiful dining. They're not getting steaks for dinner or whatever it is. But just, they know that you cared about them to prepare food. You cared about that. You prepared water for them. Like even when you get picked up and there's water for them, like, just show up and like, hey, we got water for you, whatever. Like bands are like, what? You got water? Dude, thank you so much. What? Dude, people get excited for water. You know what I mean? Like, it just shows that, like the hospitality aspect of it. But just continue to just try to step up your game. Like you're saying, Gray, it was such a great way to put it. Just step up your game a little bit. Like, of course, we come from the world of punk rock. Of course, we're going to be DIY. Of course, we're not going to give you like the best things ever. We're going to do the best that we can and just be hospitable, kind, and courteous. You know what I mean? And I think that's the key, I think.
Yeah. Because mostly we are so grateful for touring bands to come here in Cebu because mostly they just go to Manila and then they have to fly back because Manila have more access and more frequent flights to other countries. And here they have to extend more of their effort to come here to Cebu. So we rarely get touring bands, So once we get one, we make sure that, even if we have to spend our own money, then we have to spend. So I think that's part of being in a community. And then internet came, and then your website came, so it's very easy to plug things. And so we are thankful for that, for all your effort,
for your help.
Yeah, I mean, and I know I can speak from my own personal experience. Yeah, you guys definitely take care of every band. I mean, I've been there twice, and I know that you guys take care of everyone. And I know, and again, like I was saying earlier, like, a lot of Philippine scenes, a lot of third countries, like Indonesia or whatever, they're so apologetic. They're always apologizing. I remember in Cebu, don't you guys have really shitty traffic? You have bad traffic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was, I remember Kenji. Shout out to Kenji. I remember Kenji was driving us around, and he was like, yo, I'm so sorry about the traffic and stuff like that. I'm like, who cares, man? We're hanging out in Cebu. The weather's beautiful. We're driving around with this guy. He's taking us around. This is fucking amazing. And it's just like, whatever, dude. Just, apologize for whatever it is and just be like, hey, we're still doing the best that we can. And Cebu, like you guys always do. And remember, if a band comes, like, I think Malevolence came to Cebu or whatever. Yeah, Malevolence. But if a band comes and if they enjoyed what happened, right? If they enjoyed the time, dude, their word of mouth is going to spread like fire. They're going to be like, yo, you got to go to Cebu. It was amazing. It was a great scene. So you just got to think about, in terms of marketing and promotion, like word of mouth is the best way to market your scene, right?
True.
Nice. Thanks, Riz.
Riz, we're just gonna mention this comment. It basically sums everything up. So it's like, thank you so much, Riz. Hope to see you again here in Mindanao, in Cebu, in the Philippines. We just love your energy, Riz. Anytime we get like converse with you, whether it's online or like via chat. This is like the first time we like really talk, And then like it's just cool, man. Like just keep spreading those good vibes, and we love reading your rants. So like just keep doing you, man.
I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Because like, I mean, like Gray was saying, like, come from a big scene. Actually, Hong Kong is not a very big scene. So when I do these little things on Unite Asia or whatever, put up a post, I have zero like idea or assumption that anyone's reading it. Honestly, I have no assumption that anyone reads any post. And then when I know that people actually are, like when we toured Malaysia last year, people were like, yo, that post that you guys you made about the LGBTQ rights or whatever, like it's a big topic of conversation in Malaysia. I'm like, are you serious? They're like, yeah, that's a big topic of conversation. I'm like, that's cool, man. That's cool that anything I do has any value. I have no idea. If anything I do has any value or is worth anything. It's just like me, this one guy sitting in their living room. That's my living room. That's where I sit and do everything.
Awesome.
And then it just goes up.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, the Christmas tree still up.
Yeah, it's still the holidays.
Just keep doing you, Riz. So we just want to thank you for your time, man.
Yeah.
No problem.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Cebu represent.
Thank you so much.
I forgot
Thank
to wear my
you, Riz.
Gardo shirt. I should wear my Gardo shirt.
Oh,
Shout out
yeah.
to Gardo. Okay.
Yeah, actually, Queen City Crew will be finally releasing their album soon, so we're looking forward to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Queen City Crew?
Yeah. Just keep it on the down low. Keep it on the down low.
Well, this doesn't help being on the down low. You got the guy from United Asia on your thing.
Thank you
Yo,
so
shout
much.
out, man. Definitely. Shout out to Queen City Crew, to Gardo, to Thought. Tiger Pussy's such a great band.
Hell yeah.
Left the Center is such an awesome band. I know Edwin started that band Liberty and Justice. What a great band in the States.
Yeah.
Of course, Genji, Boundary, of course, Hums for like helping us out for the last show. You guys all rule, man. Represent.
Thank you, Riz. Take it
Yeah.
easy, man.
Thank you.
You can
Eat
have
your
another
dinner.
album.
Eat your
You can have
dinner,
another
man.
album and
Yes,
take it
I'll go eat dinner now.
all the time.
Thank you, Riz. Take it
Thank you,
easy.
guys. Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yo,
In English ba?
that was a long conversation, guys. That was
I
a
need a
super long
fucking
conversation.
break.
Wow, thank you, Riz.
Si Riz.
Yes.
So
Pero
guys,
grabe.
now, kung na may album, kailangan nyo i-share sa Southeast Asia, diretso na mo sa uniteasia.org katong ipakita ni Doms. Diretso na mo pinipin dito para gamay na lang yung buhaton.
Okay.
Kasi makayaw-yaw na sa series.
Yeah, sa una, wala ba yan sa una ha? Grabe, sa panahon nila. So,
It's good
Karon,
that you've been promoted.
grateful kay ta ka. Automatic na ang promotion. Southeast Asia, pag yun.
Lagi. Tataka. Gabi ho to istorya like ni chat series. Ni chat series atong private nga chat mo siya na I'm in no rush. Just keep it going as long as you'd like. And we're like, oh, grabe ho ni.
Yeah.
Like, grabe. Grabe gid kayo. Like,
It's good because it's so engaging by
Yeah, salamat sa tanang nag-tune in ha.
and also for those who made their comments, salamat tayo.
Tabak, Jed. Hi, Jed.
Si Jed. Hey, Jed.
So by the way, we still
Bacolod hardcore.
Kanya, mas 4 mo bitan.